How's it going, guys? So today I want to clean out the bed pack in the back of our heifer barn. Got half of the corn chopped last week, so we have a place to take the manure. We want to get the manure out so we can start seeding our Triticale winter forage as soon as we can. I just backed the trailer up here. I have 2 animals we need to sell today. I'm going to do that before we get to hauling manure. Alright, let me see if I can find this 209 and get her sorted out. That might be her, actually, walking out. If it is, I'm gonna be pretty happy. Yeah, that's her. So I just have 3 other ones we'll get past here. Right there. So this animal, she was due to calve, to have her first calf here 2 weeks ago. And she didn't bag up at all. Yeah, she wasn't developing an udder. She didn't have the calf. Preg tested her, she's open. It's not supposed to happen. You raise an animal like this for 2 years, about ready to start milking her, and then she doesn't have a calf. At this point, it's too late to breed her again. We're not gonna wait 9 more months. She's gonna get too big. So we just need to sell her. She'll be a nice beef animal. If we need a beef for ourselves, it'd be a good one to butcher. This is preventable, something that we're making some changes to make sure we don't have this happen again. Just in the last couple months now, we started verifying pregnancies. So even though we do preg test them once, let's say 30 days after they're bred, we want to make sure at 70 or 80 days we're checking them again to make sure they actually have a calf, whether it's a false positive pregnancy test or they can lose their calf in the early stages. We just don't want to have the situation where you have a heifer like this that doesn't come into milk then. From now on, we're going to be verifying pregnancies on heifers. We've always verified pregnancies on the milk cows. The heifers are usually more stable, but it still can happen, and then you end up with an open animal. She'll be worth still $2,500 as a beef animal, so we'll get most of our costs back. But yeah, I was kind of counting on her coming in to milk this fall. We could use her, we have space for her. So yesterday we had our manure haulers in, got this pit emptied out. I didn't film any of that, but they had a pump in both ends stirring this up good. So then today we'll get the solid manure hauled out of here. But we got 1 calf we want to take along as well. We had an Angus calf born this morning. We don't sell them until they're 4 days old, at least. So I'm not taking that one, but we do have one back here that was born last week. We used to take our cull cows and calves to auction, and now we take them to a buying station that's 10 minutes away. Yeah, this calf will get sent to a grower somewhere. They'll raise it up for beef. It's a half Angus, half Holstein. Come on, buddy. So I just dropped the cattle off. Gonna go ahead and get started cleaning out this heifer barn. Over the summer, it doesn't take a whole lot of bedding because of the ceiling fans drying things out, and then the older heifers being able to go outside. Works out pretty well if I work my way up to every gate, clean out against the wall, and then bring the gates this way. Soybeans are really starting to change now. Some sections, there's hardly any leaves. I think we might be harvesting the soybeans and the corn at about the same time this year. The rest of the corn is still fairly green. This is the lower field that we put on the top of the silo. Yeah, we didn't quite finish it. There's a couple acres still standing over there. I'm gonna spread on the rest of it. And we got corn there, later corn. ready to close back up. I think the heifers are getting tired of standing up front. So it's the next day. We're gonna get started drilling our Triticale. Drill's hooked up over there. And this year we're gonna be trying the seed tender, Homestead Nutrition, the company we buy the seed from. They own this. If you've watched my past videos loading the drill, we would borrow the neighbor's forklift, and then we didn't have enough reach to just use that center hole in the bottom of the grain sacks, so we'd have to cut a hole in the side of them. It was a whole kind of a mess. Here we got all of our winter forage, 2 different varieties of Triticale. This is Fridge Triticale. We've been growing this stuff for years, and then we're going to be growing some of this Gainer. We're not going to have the lift height to load the tender from the ground with a skid loader, but we're hoping if we use that ramp we can reach it. We don't have enough reach even with the ramp. Might try to borrow the neighbor's forklift, and then if we can fill it with using that center, the bottom of those totes have a hole you can open up that's built in. It's a little bit slower than the old method, but it's definitely easier and more consistent. Once the seed's inside of the tender anyway. If my dad uses the forklift, he can load this anytime, and then when the drill needs seed, we can just fill it up. I think overall it'll be a bit better. It's only gonna hold about 2 totes though. I'm gonna start in this field that we started chopping in. Pretty hard. We adjusted it 1 notch deeper. It's a strong inch now. I want to check some other parts of the field. Could maybe go a little bit deeper with how dry it is to try and find some moisture. Definitely doing way better than it did last year. Spent a chunk of money and got it rebuilt this past winter, so it's like a new drill. Did a couple rounds of the field. Seems to be drilling pretty well. Shooting for between 125 and 150 pounds per acre of seed. So it's not just a cover crop. It'll serve as a cover crop, but then in the spring we're going to be harvesting it. Want to get it in fairly early so that it grows a good bit in the fall. That helps the yield a lot in the spring. Usually once we hit September 15, we want to get it in the ground as soon as possible. October 15 is kind of the latest point for forage, ideally. We're loading up the drill again. It's the next morning. My dad ran for a while yesterday afternoon, so we're about half done already with the acres that we have to seed so far. The tender's working out pretty well. We were hoping to be able to fill it with a skid loader, but we have to use the neighbor's forklift, which they're nice and let us borrow. The nice thing is we can put 2 totes into it. We don't need to bring it up here as often. So we're gonna fill it up now. 2 more totes should be enough to finish out what we need to get done for today. These totes have a hole at the bottom that's made to just open up, make it handy. The problem was we could never fill the drill this way because we couldn't reach out far enough to get it above this. Yeah, he's got it opened up ready. And it's nice if you only want to do a partial tote, you can stop it all. Took about 30 seconds. Yeah, he'll put a second tote in. We'll take the forklift back and we'll be done with it for another couple weeks so we can get more planted. I'm gonna head out and keep drilling. This machine seems to be working really well. Last year it was starting to fall apart. A bunch of bearings were out. There's a guy not too far from us that rebuilds these. Pretty reasonable cost. The biggest cost is just the parts. All these closing arms and wheels are brand new. Changed all these seed firmers. Seed boots down here, those are all new. That's where the seed actually comes out. These discs are brand new. And then they changed a bunch of these. Hubs were going bad where the bearing sits inside of. So they replaced some of those. Drilled these out, new pins, bushings. Still felt like our best bet was just rebuild this drill rather than selling it and buying something different. So yeah, it almost looks like we could fit a 3rd bag in here. Probably not. Another half bag would easily fit, but my dad yesterday had started this field I was spreading manure on from the heifer barn. We're just gonna seed every inch that was cut, and then we'll come back later and fill in. We'll have to harvest the rest of that corn in a couple weeks. When I started my YouTube channel a handful of years ago, we were still doing 50 acres of alfalfa. We'd take 5 cuttings of that off, and that was a protein forage for the cows. We were growing some winter forage in the past, not near enough to feed it as heavy as we are now all year. So now what we're doing, every acre's getting winter forage. We figure we might as well grow as much as we can over the winter, take advantage of the fall, growing as late into the fall as it can, and then as soon as it gets a little warm in the spring, this crop's growing again. Then you can harvest it end of April or beginning of May, and then still have time to plant corn or soybeans. And we're protecting the soil from erosion and weeds. I like seeing the fields get all green in the fall with the triticale growing. It's just a type of grass, so it's going to look like grass fields, but it's a very aggressive, high-yielding crop. Yeah, I don't have any monitor or anything for this drill. As far as if the seed's flowing, I'm just watching. You can see the little windows. Probably can't see it on the camera, but just watching, make sure the seed's flowing out of every row there. Getting into the last section of fields, about 23 acres right here. Gonna be able to get about 70 acres in this week, and then we gotta wait till we can harvest some more crops. Oh, Dad's gonna take over again.